The house was too quiet. Lila stood in the hallway, outside Noah's room, her hand resting on the doorframe, listening to the rise and fall of his soft breathing. A part of her wanted to crawl into bed beside him, the way she used to when he was a toddler, when Micah's family wasn't watching her every move, when her heart wasn't under surveillance. But Noah was older now, 3 going on 4, sharp as a pin and absorbing everything like a sponge. And he had already repeated one thing that shook her. "John lets mommy laugh." That was the line. The innocent, careless, devastating little truth that had set the whole storm in motion. She took a steadying breath and pulled her robe tighter around herself. Another day had passed since the confrontation, the uninvited visit, the accusation masked as concern. Micah's mother's voice still rang in her ears. "So this is the man replacing my son?" But it hadn't ended there. It never ended there. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Again. She didn't want to look at it, didn't want to see Micah's name, or worse, his mother's, but when she saw the screen light up, her stomach dropped. John. "Hey, are you okay? I don't want to push, just checking in. Call me when you're ready." Lila closed her eyes and exhaled. 1 week ago, she barely noticed him. Now, he was threaded through every corner of the conflict she didn't want him involved in. She typed back, "I'm all right, just tired." He responded instantly, "Want company? I can drop food at the door if you don't want to talk." Her heart twisted. He was gentle, too gentle for the battlefield she lived in. Before she could answer, another message came. From Micah, "We need to talk. Tomorrow." No explanation, no good evening, no curiosity about Noah, just an order. The weight of it crashed onto her shoulders. He wanted control. His mother wanted control. His entire family lived on control. Lila's throat tightened. She didn't want to involve John, but she knew Micah had heard about him. The tension had been growing like a shadow behind her, a shadow that she felt now creeping up her spine. She typed back, "Okay," and then turned off the phone. Tomorrow would come soon enough. Micah arrived 5 minutes early, something he always did when he wanted to assert dominance. He didn't knock gently. He knocked like he owned the door. Boom, boom, boom. That same rhythm he used back when they lived together. A warning, a demand, a summons. Lila wiped her hands and opened the door. He didn't smile, didn't even say hello. He walked inside like he still lived there. I heard his back to her. There it was. No pretense, no warmth, just accusation. "Heard what?" she asked, keeping her voice even. "That you're seeing someone." Lila lifted her chin. "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to," he shot back, turning to face her. "My family hears things." Exactly the problem, she wanted to say. "Micah," she whispered, "John is just a friend." He searched her face like he didn't believe her, like he didn't want to believe her. "You know how this looks," he said darkly. "To my parents, to the court, to anyone watching." Her hands curled into fists. There it was again. His family's obsession with appearances. "What you do with your life is your business," she said slowly. "And what I do with mine is mine." "No!" he snapped. "Not when Noah's involved." She flinched. For a moment he softened. Just a flicker. Just enough to remind her of the man she once loved. He rubbed the back of his neck, looked away. "Look, I'm not trying to fight," he murmured. "But my mom is concerned." "Your mom is obsessed," she wanted to say. "Your mom is controlling." But she didn't. She had learned to choose her battles. "Micah, Noah is safe," she said. "He is loved. I'm not bringing strange men into his life." "He mentioned him by name," Micah interrupted. "What?" "He told my mom," Micah said with a scoff, "that John picked mommy up after church. So don't stand there acting like it's nothing." Her pulse kicked up. "That was one time." "Doesn't matter." His eyes hardened. "My mom thinks..." "Enough!" The word burst out of her before she could stop it. Micah shut his mouth. Lila stepped closer, her voice trembling for the first time. "I am Noah's mother. Not your mother, not your family. Me." Micah blinked. But she wasn't finished. "And if you think I'm going to let your mother decide who I speak to, where I go, or how I live, Micah, I survived your family once. I'm not doing it again." A long, heavy silence filled the room. Micah looked shaken, not by anger but by something else, something almost vulnerable. "Lila," he whispered, "I don't want to lose him." Her heart cracked. She didn't want him to lose Noah. She didn't want Noah to lose his father, but she also refused to lose herself. "You won't," she said gently, "unless your family keeps creating problems." Micah exhaled slowly and nodded. "Okay," then quieter. "I'll talk to them." She hadn't expected that, not after everything, but something about his voice told her that even he was tired. Tired of the drama, tired of his mother's interference, tired of feeling like he was always failing someone. Before Lila could respond, another knock sounded at the door. A soft one. John's. "Is that him?" Lila's pulse stopped. She didn't answer. She didn't get the chance. Micah opened the door, and John was standing there holding a small bag of takeout, looking startled, and then instantly concerned. "I didn't know you had company," John said cautiously. Micah crossed his arms. "Oh, she has company." Lila's stomach sank. "God, please, not now." Micah stood in the doorway like a barricade, shoulders squared, jaw tight, blocking half the light that spilled into the hallway. John adjusted his grip on the takeout bag, eyes flicking from Micah to Lila, trying to understand what he had stepped into. "I didn't know you had company," John said again, more carefully this time. Micah's laugh was short and bitter. "Yeah. Seems like you know a lot of things my son knows too." Lila stepped forward immediately. "Micah, stop." But Micah's attention was locked on John, curious, defensive, territorial, and wounded all at once. John inhaled slowly, his voice steady. "I'm just dropping off dinner. Nothing else." Micah folded his arms. "That's not what my son says." The room stilled. Lila closed her eyes for a second, feeling a wave of frustration wash over her. "Micah, you're twisting everything," she said. "You know very well Noah exaggerates simple things." "But he said it," Micah shot back, his eyes still fixed on John. He said, "Mommy laughs when John is there." John looked down, guilt flickering across his face, not because he had done anything inappropriate, but because he now realized he had unknowingly become fuel for the fire Lila had been trying so hard to avoid. "I'm sorry," John said quietly. "I didn't mean to make things harder." "You didn't," Lila said, but the words were fragile, trembling. Micah's mouth tightened. "Yes, he did." "Micah," she began. "No," he interrupted, his voice rising. "You think I want my son around some guy I don't know? Some guy suddenly close enough to be picking up my ex-wife? What do you expect me?" "She's not your wife," John said softly but firmly. "And I'm not trying to replace you." Micah turned on him, eyes burning. "Oh, really? Because you look like you're trying." "Micah!" Lila stepped between them. John immediately held his hands up in surrender. "I'm not here to fight." "You don't have to be," Micah snapped. "You already started one by being here." Lila had enough. "Stop!" Her voice cracked through the tension like lightning. Both men fell silent. Her breath shook in and out, her chest rising with the weight of everything she had been holding alone. "You both need to hear me," she said, tears threatening but refused to fall. "Because I'm not doing this again. I'm not tearing myself apart trying to please you, or your family, or this imaginary rule book about how I'm allowed to smile." She looked at Micah first. "I never kept Noah from you. I never poisoned him against you. I never refused to let your family see him. But I will not be treated like someone who owes all of you control over my life." Micah swallowed, his anger softening into something else, something more raw. Then she turned to John. "And I can't drag you into this mess unless you understand the cost. My life isn't peaceful. It hasn't been in years. Everything gets watched. everything gets twisted. If you decide to be a part of this, of me, you need to know what you're stepping into. John's gaze softened, and for a moment he looked like he wanted to reach for her, but he didn't. He respected her boundaries even when it hurt. I know, he said quietly, and I'm still here. A flicker of warmth rippled through her spine. But then, a small voice interrupted. Mommy! All three adults froze. Noah stood at the top of the stairs rubbing one eye, his pajamas wrinkled, his hair sticking up. He wasn't supposed to be awake, not now, not in the middle of this. But he had heard something. He came down a few steps and pointed at John. That's Mommy's friend who makes her smile. Micah's face drained of color. Lila's stomach dropped. John looked like someone had punched him in the chest, and the moment stretched, long, deep, and dangerous. Go back to bed, sweetheart, Lila whispered, trying to keep her voice steady. But Noah wasn't finished. He looked at Micah, blinking innocently. Grandma said Mommy can't smile around other men. The air shattered. Micah's expression darkened with humiliation, outrage, and something deeper, betrayal. What? He breathed. Noah blinked again, confused, sensing but not understanding the shift. She said Mommy can't have a boyfriend or she will take me. Silence. Absolute, horrifying silence. Lila's blood froze. Oh my God, she whispered. Micah stepped back like he had been physically struck. His chest rose and fell in sharp breaths. Who said that to him? He demanded, his voice cracking. Who told my son, that... You know who, Lila whispered. But he didn't want to know. He didn't want to hear it. He wanted to deny it. But he couldn't. Noah had no reason to lie. Micah braced a hand on the wall, shutting his eyes, the weight of realization sinking into him like a stone. His mother, his family, had crossed a line he didn't even know existed. John took a step back, giving Lila space, giving Micah space, giving the truth space to breathe. Lila scooped Noah into her arms, holding him close as she whispered soothing lies in his ear. Nobody is taking you. Nobody. Micah opened his eyes, and they were wet. He looked at Lila, not with anger, not with arrogance, but with shame. I didn't know, he whispered. I swear, I didn't know. I believe you. But the damage was done. Something had snapped free. Something Micah could never stuff back under his mother's control. We're not done talking, Micah said, voice raw. But not like this. Not in front of him. He walked out without another word. And John, he stayed. But he stayed on the doorstep, waiting to see if she needed him. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. He understood she needed time. He handed her the bag of food, offered a gentle smile that didn't reach his eyes, and walked away quietly. When she closed the door behind him, the house felt heavy again. Noah was asleep within minutes, as if the storm hadn't touched him at all. But Lila stood in the hallway long after, staring at nothing, breathing in the truth. Micah's family had threatened her custody. They had poisoned Noah's mind. They had lied to him. Again. And for the first time, Micah believed her. The house was quiet, but Lila couldn't sleep. She lay on her side, staring at the shadows dancing across her wall as the street lamp outside flickered. Her body was exhausted, but her mind churned. Noah's words replayed over and over. Grandma said Mommy can't smile around other men. It cut deeper each time she heard it. She covered her face with her hands. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. She wanted to march over to Micah's mother's house right now and demand answers, demand accountability, demand respect. But she forced herself to breathe slowly. She had battled too many storms to let her emotions lead her into another trap. She whispered into the darkness, God, give me wisdom. Please. Because this was no longer a misunderstanding or a clash of personalities. This was interference, manipulation, a threat. And she knew one thing for certain. Her son would never be used as a pawn. Just as her eyes finally started to grow heavy, there was a knock on her door. Not loud, not aggressive. A gentle, hesitant tap. Her heartbeat stumbled. Who would come this late? She checked the clock. 12:57 in the morning. She walked quietly to the door and looked through the peephole. Micah. His shoulders drooped, his eyes red and puffy, his clothes slightly disheveled. He didn't have the look of someone who came to confront, but someone who came because he was broken. Lila unlocked the door and opened it halfway. Micah, what are you doing here? He glanced down, cleared his throat and spoke softly. Can we talk? Please. I won't stay long. She hesitated. Everything inside her warned her to protect her boundaries. But another part of her, the part that knew how much Noah loved his father, knew she had to hear him. She nodded and let him in. Micah walked slowly into the living room, staring at the floor like a man trying to gather courage from the tiles. He sat down, elbows on his knees, hands clasped tightly. He finally lifted his eyes to hers. He whispered again, I didn't know. I swear to you, Lila. I had no idea my mother was telling him things. I would never allow that. Lila crossed her arms and leaned against the wall, but she did. His face tightened with pain. I confronted her, he said, after I left. I asked her straight out what she told him. Lila felt her stomach knot. What did she say? Micah's jaw clenched. She said she was only protecting the family's reputation. Lila's breath left her body in disbelief. What reputation? Micah shook his head. She said if you started dating someone, it would confuse Noah, and she didn't want you to bring in another man so soon. So soon, Lila snapped. Micah, you and I have been separated for years. Years! She had no right. She doesn't control me, Micah said quietly. Doesn't she? Lila asked softly, painfully. He flinched, and for a moment, just a moment, she saw him clearly. A man torn between his upbringing and his adulthood, between loyalty and truth, between his mother and the woman raising his son. No, he whispered, she doesn't. Not anymore. He exhaled shakily and rubbed the back of his neck. I told her she crossed the line. I told her she's not raising Noah, you are. And I told her if she ever says something like that again, she won't be allowed to keep him alone. Lila's breath caught. Micah, you said that? He nodded. I had to. She went too far. Her throat tightened with a swirl of emotions. Relief, shock, gratitude, confusion. But what about the custody threats? She asked quietly. Your family has been whispering about taking him for months. They contact lawyers. They manipulate Noah. I know, Micah interrupted, and I'm done letting it happen. He ran a hand over his face. I told my mother and my father tonight that if they ever threaten custody again, if they ever try to scare you through Noah, or through a lawyer, or through rumors, I'll take legal action myself. Lila blinked. Micah? Threaten his own parents with legal action? This was not the man she had dealt with for years. But then he whispered something that nearly unraveled her. I didn't protect you before, but I'm going to now. Lila sat down slowly, overwhelmed. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know what to believe. So many years of hostility. So many nights she cried alone. So many battles she fought without support. Seeing Micah finally step forward felt surreal. Micah's expression shifted again. More tense. More uncertain. Now, about him. John, she clarified. He nodded. Yeah, John. He looked down at his hands. Lila, I need you to tell me something honestly. He met her eyes. Are you with him? She swallowed. No, I'm not. We're friends. Micah studied her face, searching for lies. But she didn't lie. She wasn't ready to call anything more than friendship what it was. Not yet. Micah nodded slowly. Okay, I can respect that. She exhaled, relief mixed with uncertainty. But I need you to listen to me too, he continued, his voice surprisingly gentle. If you ever do decide to be with someone, I won't stand in the way, but my family, he rubbed his forehead, they're not going to take it well. I know, she whispered. And John, Micah paused. I don't hate him. I just don't want him around Noah until we figure out what this is. That's fair, she admitted. Micah wasn't being controlling. He was being a father. And she respected that. She nodded. We'll take it slow. His shoulders relaxed, not in triumph, but in relief. Thank you, he said quietly. Then Micah reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded paper. I need to show you something, he said, handing it to her. Lila unfolded it. It was a lawyer's message, a formal notice, a draft, something his mother had prepared behind his back. Her heart slammed. What is this? Micah pointed at the bottom. That part, he said bitterly, was written last week. My mother wanted to file for primary custody and claim you were emotionally unstable due to romantic entanglements. Lila's hand trembled. They had planned to use John against her. Her face went cold. Micah, this is evil. I know. He reached out and gently took the paper back. And I shut it down. Completely. I told them if they ever go behind my back with something like this again, I will personally fight against them in court. Lila covered her mouth. She wasn't just shocked. She was shaken. Because for the first time, Micah was not her enemy. He was standing beside her. Micah stood up slowly, heading toward the door. He paused before opening it. Lila, I'm sorry for everything. I finally see what you've been dealing with, and I'm going to help, not hurt. She felt tears burn her eyes. Thank you, she whispered. He gave her a small nod and left. The door clicked shut, and Lila stood in the quiet house, her chest rising and falling with the weight of everything that had happened. She walked upstairs and peeked into Noah's room. He was curled up with his little blanket, breathing softly, peaceful, unaware of the war being fought over him downstairs. She brushed his curls and whispered, Mommy will protect you, always. As she whispered her prayer, the rain outside slowed to a soft hush, like the sky finally exhaled. The storm wasn't over. It wasn't even close, but the balance had shifted. Lines had been drawn, and for the first time, Micah was on her side. What his mother would do next, that remained the true danger. But Lila, heart fiercely protective, faith unwavering, strength growing, was ready for whatever came next.